questions related to that. And Dr. Awatona is going to be answering some of these questions with you, and I'll be providing some of my feedback from my own international experience. But let's dive into this first question, which I really like, and it has to do with how, well, Henry, okay, we'll start with a specific one. Henry from Boston says, international development seems like a sham. Are we really able to change what happens at international levels and create, quote, sustainable communities?
I wouldn't go as far as describing international efforts as a sham. I think they are very well-meaning. There are very committed people everywhere who wish to dedicate their intellectual and monetary resources to assist in finding appropriate solutions to common problems in various parts of the world. So I wouldn't describe international efforts as a sham. I think what we should be striving for in order to make the international development work more meaningful and relevant to people's lives is to involve the people themselves in finding solutions, in defining the problems they face at the level of the conceptual level, as well as implementation of whatever policies we arrive at. You must involve local people in solving local problems.
Sure. Did we learn anything from Iraq? I know you wrote your book on Iraq after your conference that you did a few years ago.
Yes.
Did we learn anything from that in the terms of changing how we might have been implementing our practices there?
I'm not entirely sure we did. I'm not entirely sure because even as we speak now, the unemployment, just to take the unemployment dimension, unemployment is still extremely high amongst the Iraqi youth. And we believe very strongly that one way that could have resolved the problem of unemployment and in Iraq was to create employment, and create employment through by working with the local communities, identifying the specific needs of local communities, be they rural or in the urban areas, and investing money at those local levels. And sometimes big is never really beautiful. It has to be small, to be relevant, to be beautiful, to be effective.
Sure.
And I think the small is beautiful approach is one which we really have ignored for a very long time, including in Iraq. Small is always beautiful.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And microfinance is a perfect example.
Exactly. You have to seek out people at a very local level, identify what their needs are, identify what their resources are, and then we identify what the gaps are between what they have and what they need to get them to the next level.
Sure.
So we make a contribution. But that contribution, again, I must emphasize, and it bears repetition, must involve a local voice. The local people must have a voice in whatever it is that we're trying to resolve.
Sure. That's very true. Thanks so much for your question there. We'll get a couple more here. In terms of public and community, what's the way that we consider and pull people together in these ways that you mentioned, Dr. Awatona? It seems to me that people are too busy just trying to survive than to spend their mental energy on a project that people from another country might come in and want to put into place.
Local people tend to be very, very cynical about interventions, external interventions in their local communities, because over the years, experts come with all the best of intentions in the world. They do their best, build bridges, build wells, build infrastructure, and then they leave. And once they leave, there's no way to sustain them. There's no employment, there's no economic empowerment of the local people, so they don't have the material resources with which to continue those projects. And of course, the experts who come, do their bit and leave, never usually come back for a follow-up, to check on the consequences of all the things that they've done. So people have become extremely skeptical, about the efficacy and the relevance of other people's intervention in their own lives, especially when people come from from outside their own community. So I think one way to mobilize local interest, mobilize and sustain local enthusiasm for projects that are being done locally is to ensure that people have a voice, the local people have a voice at all stages of those projects, and they are directly involved in decision. And be uninterested in these external interventions.
Sure. I saw a question that popped up on my screen related to this other question because some of them fall after each other, so people comment on it. And let's see, Brittany's question, and she's in California, related to the fact that she thinks sustainability, as we've been talking about it, sounds very good, sounds fine. My question for you, she says, is there any similarities between what you were just talking about and Katrina?
Well, Katrina, unfortunately, at the moment, has not really we have not seized the opportunity for rethinking reconstruction after disasters that was provided to us by Katrina. It will appear to me that it's still the same old ways of doing things. There's no comprehensive plan to address the post-Katrina devastation in a very